Gracias. Hi. So yes. So thank you for being here. And it's crazy that a lot of time has passed since last Avalanche Summit, but also a lot of time has passed since the first Avalanche Summit. Who has been to the first Avalanche Summit? Like 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Oh, that's really interesting. So then the second question is really not that obvious. Like, do you know Avascan? Who knows Avascan here? Okay. That is that is satisfying. So Avascan is the only one block explorer for Avalanche Network. It was the first unified block explorer for Avalanche, and it launched even before Avalanche mainnet on September 1st, 2020. And it is recognized by many as the Google of Avalanche. And maybe not many know that we were one of the first recipients of the Avalanche X grant program way back in like September, August 2020. And we basically built Avascan following Emin Gunsirer like affirmation or vision, let's say, that said, I want to see everything that is happening on Avalanche in one single place. And that was okay. We had a lot of product discussions about how to actually show everything in one place. But the single biggest issue was Gun telling us we will have 100 subnets within 2 years, and then going to be having 1,000 TPS in throughput. And so we were there, and we were running costs about the indexer that we were having, and we found that we would spend like, I don't know, $3-4 million a year in indexing costs. So we were like, okay, let's switch it up a little bit. So we kind of went in a public stealth mode. So the product was already, was live and it was working and so on. But behind the scenes, we were like secretly building a unified, natively multi-chain indexer. What does that mean? It means that in 2022, when we first, tried and, looked after, like, beyond Avalanche, we were trying to understand if any other chain beyond Avalanche wanted a block explorer, because we knew that Etherscan would charge a lot of money. We understood that, yes, they wanted the block explorer, but they also didn't want it to start with the Ava name. And that's fine. A lot of people beyond Avalanche want a agnostic product. And so we simply built a new front end with a different name. So that's when we launched Routescan. We launched Routescan. We initially built Routescan in 2023, and we launched it on September 1st, 2023, in a conference in Seoul. And Routescan is the world's first multi-chain unified block explorer platform. What it means, all this nonsense naming. It means that we can basically, we have basically commoditized explorer creation. So first, when you wanted to have a block explorer, you needed to have maybe download the block scout GitHub repo and make some changes, and maybe obsess over why the indexer is not working with my debug trace transactions or whatnot. And also, but you could also pay block scout for doing that, but you have I don't know, one month estimation time, or if you wanted to go to Etherscan, you had to pay $1 million a year. So that was not working. That was not working. So we basically rendered the explorer creation down to a simple line addition. It's as easy as that. If it's a vanilla EVM blockchain, or if it's really, really similar to EVM. And so right now we can offer to 99% of clients, we can offer 48-hour explorer setup, meaning that from the moment you give us the RPC or you tell us how to run a node, to the moment that the explorer is running and live, it takes about 48 hours or even less. And we also gave everyone access to the multi-chain platform. So it means that when you build the block explorer, it gets integrated into the multi-chain platform. And so everyone that is using the multi-chain platform will also have access to your blockchain data. And of course, we built an Avalanche, ready explorer that is different from Avascan, and that is Snowtrace. As you may remember, Snowtrace was maintained by Routescan a few years ago. But as soon as we built Routescan, that was the time that Ava Labs and us, we came to an agreement, and we did something that no chain could ever do. They were crazy. We even were thinking about it. They were crazy in giving us the Snowtrace and making a transition. If you remember, on November 1st, 2023, it was announced that Snowtrace would be deprecated in 30 days. And we had to migrate everything in 30 days. Obviously, we didn't do that. There were a lot of issues. But eventually, in a couple of months, everything was working correctly. And now you have Snowtrace, that is the first Etherscan level explorer that has a unified data. And it's a multi-chain explorer that is used by more than 100,000 people every month. And that was the first of our multi-chain products. And it has a lot of features that you can use when you think about a block explorer, but also a simple analytics platform. Because if you integrate data from every subnet, now L1, on a single explorer, you can see all the transactions that you made on every chain, or you can confront them. So you can confront the throughput of the transactions, or you confront the active addresses. So basically, what you would be able to do with Nansen, or what Dune, you can now do it with Routescan. But you don't need to wait for Dune and for Nansen to integrate the chain, because it comes with the block explorer. So every chain needs to have a block explorer, but not every chain needs to have an analytics tool. So we're giving analytics tools to chains that don't have one. And it's another way of democratizing access for the low budget chains, and really commoditizing access for chain creation to everyone. So I wanted to spend a couple of minutes saying what we learned. So we are in this journey on Routescan for about a year, and we learned a lot of things. I think we talked to about 200, 300 chains in the past year. Most of them were going to shut down after a few months, some even after a few days. But what we learned is that, first, chain abstraction is a hot topic and is here to stay. So, of course, people don't want to switch chains and don't want to know really which chain they're on. They just want to use the chain and, do a swap or trade some meme coins. They don't really know. They don't really want to know which chain they're on. And in consequence, where to build is not that much important as to what to build now. You may see this kind of controversial because a lot of chains are built as L2s on Ethereum, but that is a different argument. So there's the argument that chains need to be Ethereum aligned or Avalanche aligned or whatever, and there's also the idea of actual project teams that need to build a backend for their project and are looking for the best solution to actually make it work. And for that, the VM is really important. So how you build it, what tools you use to build it, not how aligned you are to one ecosystem or the other. And performance and latency can be currently achieved with the vanilla EVM. We've seen a lot of, Base, for example, is trying to increasing the gas limit to, 100 megagas per second or whatever. But that is that really sacrifices decentralization. So they only have one or two sequencers and that's it. If you don't want to compromise on decentralization, you need to have different VMs. You need to rethink about how you reach consensus, and about you execute blocks actually. And so like there are a lot of new VMs that promise to have over 500, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 TPS, and that's what we learned. And in our research, and you can see here the whole pie is around 1,400 blockchains currently live, either in mainnet or in testnet. And what you see here is not the unique virtual machines used, but the non-unique. So most like a lot of chains, like I think about 20% of the chains have more virtual machines in it. I even know about a new L2 that has like 4 virtual machines in it. And this is because some chains want to have the flexibility to talk to a lot of different types of developers. And so that's why they support different languages and different virtual machines and so on. So the basic idea is that there's a whole world beyond EVM. And we want to support that. We would like to support, Rust-based or, CosmoWasm or Solana virtual machine VMs. We want to support Kaido, EVM+, Move. Also because everything can be built on Avalanche. Avalanche is a VM agnostic platform, meaning that provided you use the Snowman consensus, you can use any VM on top of it or behind it, you see it. So we want to test this. And since we are not working on a specific indexer for anything beyond EVM right now, we're testing it with EVM. So like saying, how much can we actually ingest data? If, like Vitalik yesterday posted a blog about Ethereum and the greater ecosystem reaching 100,000 TPS. How can we actually do that? Because the chains can even do, 1 million TPS. But how can you actually ingest those data and put them in a database so everyone can see them in real time? That's the real bottleneck. Maybe Vitalik is not thinking about this. So during some tests, actually pretty recently, we achieved 4,000 TPS in data ingestion. That is about 10 times what Routescan does currently, and about 2 times what Solana does, or Solana Explorers. So when recovering Ethereum mainnet, we achieved 4,000 throughput in indexing. That's a lot. And right now, we are indexing about 500 TPS across 110 blockchains. So just to say here that we have the capability of doing this. And since we have the capability of doing this, we've been talking to Avalabs about it. And maybe you saw here a little name in the last bullet point. So I'm happy to announce that we are actively working on an Avascan and Routescan powered HyperVM Explorer that will be coming in 2025. And we're working with Avalabs to, of course, work on the optimization for data ingestion and for, of course, not go to 100,000 TPS in the first days because we cannot do that. But the HyperVM is a good ground for experimenting with ultra high throughput chains. And this is the first step in actually supporting an Explorer for all those types of chains that will actually be needed to actually replace or concur with the TradFi, ultra high frequency trading, or real-time gaming, online gaming, and so on. So that's what we're working on, and we're so happy to be helping Avalabs in this. And yeah, that's it. It was a really quick presentation I was asked to give, and that's it. Thanks for listening.
So do we have any questions? We have time for just one question, if anyone wants to ask. Or you'll be around where? Thank you.
A question. It's amazing work. Congratulations on this.
Thank you.
So I think of these other projects like indexers, like Graph project, the Graph, you know, and they try to provide verifiable Explorer data, let's say. And do we have any plans in this direction in some capacity? Just curious. Yeah.
Plans, no. Ideas, yes. It's you know, the graph. The graph is really not an indexer as we conceive it. It's more of a collection of subgraphs, and a subgraph is really there's a lot of difference between a subgraph, like, because with a subgraph you can just listen to events of a single smart contracts, and so you can just listen to those you know, state contract functions, state transition functions, and so that is kind of easier, but also if you do it on a collection, it makes some complexity, but that's kind of a different job right now. And but we have thought of that. We did think about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll have a